Part 106. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1051. Chapter 1051, Did my words please you? She didn't believe that he would have thought of these words himself. Either someone was teaching him behind her back, or he was lying to her when he said he had never been in love. Of course, Miss Zhang, please ask, and I will answer truthfully. Mr. Mo, did Assistant Sue teach you what you just said? If so, then Assistant Sue is really a master at flirting with girls. No. Mo Shixia looked at her and replied seriously, tonight's date was planned by Assistant Sue, but every conversation between me and Miss Zhang is my own idea and has nothing to do with anyone else. Really, Zhang Luli didn't quite believe it, but didn't Mr. Mo say that you've never been in love? Yeah, what's the problem? Mo Shixio asked doubtfully. Zhang Luli, Mr. Mo, I don't think you are someone who has never been in love. Mo Shixio became even more confused. Why do Miss Zhang think so? I have not deceived Miss Zhang in any way. I have never dated other women in private before you. If Miss Zhang doesn't believe it. Okay, I believe you. Zhang Luli also felt that it was impossible for him to lie. How could a man like Mo Shixio lie to a woman? This is not what he would do. She just thought he was too flirtatious. It will make you look like a love expert rather than a man with no emotional experience. Miss Zhang, why do you think I deceived you? Mo Shixia was obviously very persistent about this matter and insisted on knowing the answer. Is there something I did wrong that made Miss Zhang think this way? No. Miss Zhang, you can just tell me what I didn't do well. Mo Shixia said seriously, I know I still have a lot to learn, but Miss Zhang needs to tell me what I didn't do well. Know how to correct it? Mr. Mo, you really didn't do anything wrong, it's just that I don't think you look like you've ever had sex. Why? Mo Shixia was puzzled. Miss Zhang, what do you think about me that I don't look like? Zhang Luli took a deep breath. Mr. Mo, don't you know how tempting those words you said are? Those words don't sound like they were spoken by a man who has never been in love. Those words of yours will only make others think that you have rich emotional experience. Mo Shixia frowned. Why? Zhang Luli stroked his forehead. Only men with rich emotional experiences are good at flirting. Tease. Mo Shixia's brows tightened, his eyes full of confusion. What does this mean? Zhang Luli. Is he serious? Mr. Mo, you don't know what flirting means. Mo Shixia shook his head, with an expression of humbly asking for advice. Miss Zhang, can you explain to me? What is teasing? Zhang Luli. Are they living in the same era? At his age, he still doesn't know what flirt means. Facing the man's humbly asking for advice, she was silent for a while, stretched out her hand to touch her forehead and said, Mr. Mo, flirting means being able to please a girl and being good at saying things that can make a girl's heart flutter. Mo Shixia understood. He looked at Zhang Luli intently and asked seriously, so Miss Zhang, you just said that I am good at flirting. Do you mean that I have already made you happy? Those words of mine, does it please you? End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1052. Chapter 1052, He looks drunk at first glance. Zhang Luli thought for a while and nodded, yeah. If he didn't please her, why would her heartbeat be abnormal again and again? A faint smile filled Mo Shixia's eyes, and the corners of his lips raised happily, as long as I can please Miss Zhang. If Miss Zhang likes to hear me say this, then I will tell you often in the future. Zhang Luli's hand holding the knife and fork trembled again. Shit. Here it comes again, it comes again. This man is flirting with her again. He certainly didn't know how seductive his words were. She now truly believed that he was flirting with her unconsciously. Miss Zhang, what's wrong? Seeing her staring blankly at him without saying anything, Amo Shixia raised his eyebrows slightly and asked, "Did I say something wrong somewhere?" Zhang Luli, no. The waiter brought other dishes one after another. This is a very high-end private restaurant. Although it is located on a mountainside in the countryside, it never lacks customers. Those who come and go here are all high-ranking officials in Yuncheng. At a place like this, of course the chefs are all masters. The dishes made are also very delicious. The wind blows in outside the window, carrying a faint fragrance of flowers. Except for the weird atmosphere at the beginning, everything after that made Zhang Luli feel very comfortable. The food is delicious and the red wine is delicious. The music is also very nice. The atmosphere of the restaurant is also very good. In the end, Zhang Luli ate a lot and drank a lot. Dinner was over, and the red wine's power gradually began to evaporate. She started to feel dizzy and her face felt hot after claiming that she wouldn't get drunk even if she drank a bottle of red wine. Amo Shixia saw something wrong with her face and asked worriedly, "Miss Zhang, are you okay?" He didn't expect Zhang Luli to be so good at drinking. She drank more than half of a whole bottle of red wine. That red wine has a strong stamina, so he doesn't dare to drink too much every time. Zhang Luli stretched out his hand and pressed his temples, rubbing them for a while, then slowly raised his head and looked at him with a confused look. "I'm fine, just let me take it easy for a while." She was just a little dizzy. She will be fine if she rests for a while longer. Amo Shixia had to sit with her for a few minutes. Almost every 2 or 3 minutes, he would ask her, "Miss Zhang, are you okay? Are you drunk? I need someone to get you something to sober up you." "I'm not drunk." Zhang Luli felt her head getting more and more dizzy. She raised her eyes and glared at Amo Shixia, with dissatisfaction on her face and said, "How could I be drunk? I can still drink another bottle of me tell you." Her cheeks were flushed, and her eyes were obviously blurred. At first glance, he looks drunk. But drunk people like to say that they are not drunk. She will get angry with anyone who tells her he is drunk. Zhang Luli is in this state now. "Amo Shixia, let me tell you, I'm really not drunk." She rubbed her still aching temples and yelled at the man opposite her with great dissatisfaction, "I only drank so much, how could I be drunk? I'm not drunk, I really am not drunk. I can drink more. If you don't believe me, let's drink another bottle." Amo Shixia pursed his lips and frowned little by little. Not drunk yet? Whenever he is awake, he is always called Mr. Amo. Now everyone calls him by his first name. This is obviously drunk. Amo Shixia couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Had I known she was such a drinker, I shouldn't have believed that she could drink a bottle and let her drink so much wine. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1053. Chapter 1053, Getting Used to His Girlfriend Being Close to Him. "Miss Zhang, you are drunk." Amo Shixia sighed softly and said with self-blame in his eyes, "It's all my fault that I didn't stop you and let you drink so much. Are you feeling uncomfortable now? I'll take you back. Would you like to rest at home? I'm not drunk." Zhang Luli slammed the table hard, stood up unsteadily, bit his lip and glared at him. "Who said I was drunk? Just ordered so much wine, how could I be drunk? Reply home. I don't want to go home now, I don't want to go home." Amo Shixia was now extremely sure that she was drunk. Moreover, he was a bit drunk. Hearing that she said she didn't want to go home, he asked patiently, "Don't you want to go home, then where do you want to go?" Zhang Luli tilted his head, thought for a while, showed him a bright and playful smile, winked and said, "Amo Shixia, didn't you say you wanted to give me a surprise? What surprise have you prepared?" Give it to me, can I know now? Amo Shixiu, do you still remember this matter? Zhongluli, of course I remember, how could I forget such a thing? Amo Shixiu, where is the surprise you prepared for me? Tell me quickly, what did you prepare? Amo Shixiu had prepared a surprise for her. The original plan was to take her to see the surprise after she finished eating. But she is in this state now. He frowned, stood up and walked towards her. Miss Zhang, can we save the surprise for another time? I will take you to the next date. Now, I will take you home. I do not want to go home. As soon as Mo Shixiu reached Zhongluli, she hugged her arm. He was stunned and his body stiffened for a few seconds. Mo Shixiu, I don't want to go home. Zhongluli was really drunk, and her brain devoured by alcohol had no sense left. She simply forgot what she was here to do tonight. She looked at the man next to her with blurred drunken eyes, moving slowly from his deep eyebrows, inch by inch, along the high bridge of his nose to his plump thin lips, and then down to his perfect jawline. An Adam's apple. Perhaps it's because the weather is hot. The man unbuttoned a few buttons of his shirt. Zhongluli saw the looming muscles from his slightly exposed chest. Although only a little bit is exposed, it can be seen that his muscle lines are smooth and strong. At first glance, it seems that it has been cultivated for a long time. Thinking that he was busy with work every day, Zhongluli couldn't imagine that someone like him could spare time to exercise. Miss Zhang, you need to go home and have a good rest now. After a few seconds, Mo Shixiu's stiff body slowly returned to normal. He began to try to accept the approach of the girl next to him, and also tried to accept the close contact with her. From now on, they will be boyfriend and girlfriend. He has to get used to his girlfriend being close to him. After Zhongluli was drunk, his body felt light and he felt unsteady under his feet. As soon as she got close to Mo Shixiu, she leaned softly against him. The hand holding his arm also held him tightly. When she spoke, her drunken voice was much softer, but, I don't want to go home now. You're so annoying. Even though I said you don't want to go home, you still keep asking me to go home. Mo Shixiu, do you really not want to stay with me? No. As the girl came closer, her breath also floated over, and the strands of aroma penetrated into Mo Shixiu's nose, disturbing his calm mind. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1054. Chapter 1054. You are so good looking. Even though the two of them had already had that night. But he is still not used to being close to the opposite sex. The girl next to him leaned all her weight on him. Mo Shixiu had to reach out to support her to prevent her from losing her balance and falling to the ground. In this way, the two people have more physical contact. Zhongluli leaned against him, grabbed his arm and shook it gently. His voice was soft and delicate. Mo Shixiu, I feel so dizzy. Mo Shixiu's body was tense and he didn't dare to move. His voice was also tight. Miss Zhang, you are drunk. How about I take you home? If you have a good rest, you won't feel so uncomfortable. But I don't want to go home. Zhongluli bit the corner of his lip, looked up at him, his cheeks were flushed, and his eyes were blurred. Mo Shixiu, I want to go to the mountains to enjoy the breeze, can you take me there? Didn't you say you would take me? Let's go to the mountains to see the stars, shall we? I haven't seen the stars for a long, long time. The stars must be particularly beautiful tonight. Mo Shixiu was stunned for a moment. You want to go to the mountain to see the stars? She actually still remembers this incident. Isn't it possible? Zhongluli felt that her head was getting dizzy and she felt more and more uncomfortable. Her whole body was limp and she couldn't exert any strength. She pressed one hand on one temple, her face wrinkled, and said in pain, I'm dizzy and uncomfortable. I want to go to the mountains to blow in the wind, and I want to go to the mountains to see the stars. Amo Shixiu, please take me there quickly. Why are you ignoring me? Didn't you say you wanted to make me happy? The girl's soft body was close to him, her soft voice echoed in his ears, and one hand reached out to touch his face. Her white and soft fingers were like a paintbrush, gently tracing the outline of his face. Her starry eyes were half opened, and her blurred gaze fell on his handsome and noble face. As she looked at it, there was a trace of obsession in her eyes. Amo Shixiu, you are so good looking. Zhang Luli's fingers slid across the man's tall and three-dimensional bridge of the nose, moved down little by little, and gently pressed on the man's moist and soft thin lips. Amo Shixiu's expression suddenly changed, his Adam's apple rolled, and he spoke, his voice a little hoarse, Miss Zhang. Men's lips are thin but also full. The touch feels very good. Zhang Luli looked at his moist lips. She was so drunk that she licked her lips. She stood on tiptoes and moved closer to him. She was still murmuring softly, Amo Shixiu, I want to kiss you. His lips look watery and QQ, and they must feel good when kissed. Amo Shixiu didn't react at first. When she got closer and heard the words she muttered clearly, her expression suddenly changed. Amo Shixiu felt that his face was getting hot. His heart beat faster and he panicked, Miss Zhang, you are drunk. I will take you home right away. Zhang Luli's lips were already very close to him. So close that her breath sprayed on his lips. The warm, moist smell with a hint of alcohol disturbed Amo Shixiu's heart, and he, who had always been indifferent to emotions and anger, never changed his expression when he encountered anything, and had an indifferent attitude, instantly panicked. He has never been so panicked as he is now. At nearly 30 years old, he was teased by a 19-year-old girl and became confused. Still a drunk girl. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1055. Chapter 1055. She has nothing to fear now. Amo Shixiu had to reach out to support her to prevent her from losing her balance and falling to the ground. In this way, the girl next to him leaned all her weight on him. Zhang Luli leaned against him, grabbed his arm and shook it gently, saying in a soft voice, Amo Shixiu, I feel so dizzy. Amo Shixiu's body was tense and he didn't dare to move. His voice was also tight, Miss Zhang, you are drunk. How about I take you home? If you have a good rest, you won't feel so uncomfortable. But I don't want to go home now. Zhang Luli bit the corner of his lip, looked up at him, his cheeks were flushed, and his eyes were blurred. Amo Shixiu, I want to go to the mountains to enjoy the breeze, can you take me there? Didn't you say you would take me? Let's go to the mountains to see the stars, shall we? I haven't seen the stars for a long time. The stars must be particularly beautiful tonight. Amo Shixiu was stunned for a moment. You want to go to the mountain to see the stars? She actually still remembers this incident. Isn't it possible? Zhang Luli felt that her head was getting dizzy and she felt more and more uncomfortable. Her whole body was limp and she couldn't exert any strength. She pressed one hand on one temple, her face wrinkled, and said in pain, I'm dizzy and uncomfortable. I want to go to the mountains to blow in the wind, and I want to go to the mountains to see the stars. Amo Shixiu, please take me there quickly. Why are you ignoring me? Didn't you say you wanted to make me happy? The girl's soft body pressed against him, her soft voice echoed in his ears, and one hand reached out to his face. Her white and soft fingers were like a paintbrush, gently tracing the outline of his face. Her starry eyes were half opened, and her blurred gaze fell on his handsome and noble face. As she looked at it, there was a trace of obsession in her eyes. Amo Shixiu, you are so good looking. Zhang Luli's fingers slid across the man's tall and three-dimensional bridge of nose and moved down little by little. Amo Shixiu's expression suddenly changed, Miss Zhang, you are drunk, I will take you home right away. The girl next to him had a faint smell of alcohol and a hint of sweetness, which disturbed Mo Shixio's heart. He had always been indifferent to emotions and anger, and his face remained calm when he encountered anything. His calm mind suddenly panicked. He has never been so panicked as he is now. Nearly 30 years old, he panicked in front of a 19-year-old girl. His heartbeat was beating faster and faster. Seeing the girl's beautiful face getting closer and closer to him, he reached out to push her in a panic. "Miss Zhang, you are really drunk." Zhang Lily's body was so limp that he couldn't stand firmly. Mo Shixio pushed her back and she took a step back. Her body shook a few times and she almost fell to the ground. When Mo Shixio saw this, he immediately pulled her back. Zhang Lili jumped into his arms and stretched out his arms to hug his waist. Mo Shixio didn't dare to move for a moment. His body stiffened, his head lowered, and he looked helplessly at the girl in his arms. He stretched out one hand in the air, neither putting it down nor putting it down. As for the girl in his arms, he didn't know how to deal with it. It doesn't work to push her away. It won't work even if I don't push her away. Mo Shixio's body was stiff and motionless. After a moment, he took a deep breath, wrenched the girl's little hand from his waist, and forced her to walk outside regardless of whether she wanted to or not. "Miss Zhang, I'll take you home." "I don't want to go home." When Zhang Lili heard that he wanted to go home, he started to struggle, crying like a child. "Mo Shixio, I don't want to go home, I want to go to the mountain to watch the stars." "Let's see the stars another day." Mo Shixio pursed his lips. At this moment, he just wanted to send the annoying little girl next to him home. Had he known that she would be like this when she was drunk, he would not have let her touch the wine. The only thing to be thankful for is that she is with him now. If it were another man. Thinking that she would do these things to other men, Mo Shixio felt a little blocked for no reason. Feeling a little uncomfortable. "No, Wu, I just want to watch it now." Zhang Lili was in such a state that she was so drunk that she lost most of her consciousness. There was nothing she didn't dare to say or do that she usually didn't dare to do. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1056. Chapter 1056. Call me baby. Mo Shixio, you are such a stingy person. When people want to kiss you, you don't give them a kiss. You also say you want to be my boyfriend, but you don't give me a kiss. I don't want you to be my boyfriend. Mo Shixio walked hurriedly, half hugging and half hugging her out. After hearing what she said, he stumbled and almost fell to the ground with her. As soon as he stopped, Zhang Lili immediately hugged him and rubbed him. "Mo Shixio, don't be so stingy. Can you let me kiss you? I'll just kiss you," she said and stretched out a finger to gesture. "Really? I promise I will kiss you." Mo Shixio's facial expression was stiff. Nearly 30 years old, he blushed when he was teased by the 19-year-old Zhang Lili. There was a blush on the man's cold and dignified face. Besides them, there were other waiters in the restaurant. Zhang Lili's voice was not quiet, as he was afraid that others had heard what he just said. He was embarrassed and helpless. If it were any other woman, he would have pushed her away and left it to his men to handle. But the girl next to me is not someone else. She was his first woman. Soon, she will become his girlfriend. They soon became lovers. Of course he can't treat her in his usual way. It is normal for girls to like to be close to their boyfriends. This shows that she likes him. He should be happy. It's just that he is not used to being too close to her outside, especially when other people are watching. "Ms. Zhang, don't make trouble. You still call me Miss Zhang." Zhang Lili stared at him with a dissatisfied look on his face. The blush on his face deepened a few degrees, and he muttered with blurred eyes, "I'm your girlfriend, why are you still calling me Miss Jong, it sounds so unfamiliar." Mo Shixia was stunned for a moment, and then asked seriously, "Then what should I call you?" He also feels that if two people become boyfriend and girlfriend, the names should be changed. Calling her Miss Jong again is a bit too unfamiliar. "Jong Luli, call me baby." Mo Shixiu. "Is there any other name?" Jong Luli smiled and said, "Then call me baby, darling, little sweet, little cute." Mo Shixiu. The employees in the restaurant secretly watched the two of them, but all the employees who saw Jong Luli pestering Mo Shixiu to kiss him just now were dumbfounded and shocked. If you don't see it with your own eyes, who could believe that a serious and ascetic man like Mo Shixiu would be molested by a little girl? And his face turned red after being teased. It will definitely be big news if this is released. It's a pity that no one has the courage yet. He dared to take the risk of offending Mo Shixiu and reveal what happened just now. In addition to admiration for this girl who could make Mo Shixiu feel helpless, they were also curious about where this girl came from. The girl looks very young and looks like a student. She has excellent looks and figure, and is as beautiful as a star. Looking at her dress, she doesn't look like a rich girl. But Mo Shixiu's attitude towards her was very different. Judging from the various intimate interactions between the two, they seemed to be boyfriend and girlfriend who had just been dating. If they are really boyfriend and girlfriend, this would be explosive news. As the most likely candidate to be elected as the next president, Mo Shixiu's personal love life has always attracted much attention. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1057. Chapter 1057, When I get back, I'll let you kiss me. Coming from a noble family, the Mo family has been outstanding since childhood. His appearance and personal abilities are one of the best in a million. No matter what the conditions are, he is a close to perfect man. Such a man is the dream lover of many women. How many women dream of marrying him and becoming his wife? However, he has never seen anyone of the opposite around him except at work. I have never heard of him having an affair with a woman. He will soon be 30 years old. The man stands at 30. This is the age when one should start a family and start a business. Hence, it can be said that Mo Shixiu's personal issues are of constant concern to the people across the country. If it were revealed that he had a girlfriend, I don't know what kind of sensation it would cause. But similarly, even if they knew about this sensational news, no one would dare to break it. Unless it is made public by Mo Shixiu himself. Miss Jong, you. Mo Shixiu had a headache. He had no idea that Jong Luli would behave like this when he was drunk. It was completely different from when she was awake. It's like a different person. He still has nothing to do with her. "Call me baby," Jong Luli glared at him dissatisfied, and corrected him word by word, "I am your girlfriend now, you are not allowed to call me Miss Jong anymore from now on, you call me baby." Bow. Mo Shixiu opened his mouth, but he really couldn't pronounce the title. It's not appropriate to continue calling her Miss Jong. He really can't call her baby. He thought for a while and finally called, "Loli." Jong Luli frowned and said dissatisfied, "I want to hear you call me baby." Mo Shixiu, forget it if you don't kiss me, and you still refuse to call me baby. I don't like you anymore. I don't want to do it your girlfriend. At this time, Mo Shixiu said, "Loli, please be obedient. Let's go back first. Then when you get back, you can kiss me and call me baby." Mo Shixiu. "If you don't kiss me and call me baby, then I won't go back." Mo Shixiu. Jong Luli felt her body getting hotter and hotter, and her stomach felt uncomfortable. She leaned softly in Mo Shixiu's arms, and when she spoke again, her voice was a little pitiful, "Mo Shixiu, I feel so bad. My head is fine. I feel dizzy and it hurts so much. That's because you're drunk, so I'm going to take you home now. I don't want to go home, and you won't give me a kiss. Realizing that if he didn't agree to her today, the matter probably wouldn't be resolved, Amo Shixia was silent for a while, and finally sighed helplessly. He gave up resistance. No matter what, let's coax her back first. He was afraid that if he didn't take her away, she would do something even more outrageous in public later. Amo Shixia didn't dare to think about what else she would do. Okay, I'll let you kiss me when I get back. It was particularly difficult for him to say the last few words, and after he finished speaking, his face felt extremely hot. He couldn't believe that he would say such a thing to a woman. Really, Zhang Luli suddenly became happy. Even her headache seemed to have eased a lot. She looked at the man's handsome face with longing eyes, and then her eyes fell on his beautiful shape with covetous eyes. On the lips. Her eyes were too hot, and her coveting for him was not concealed at all. Being stared at by her like this, Amo Shixia felt his heart beat abnormally again. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1058. Chapter 1058, Do you want to introduce me to the eldest daughter of the Shen family? Amo Shixia took a deep breath and looked away. Yeah. Okay, then let's go back. Zhang Luli finally relented. Thinking that she could kiss the handsome guy she had always wanted to kiss when she went back, she immediately cooperated extremely. Amo Shixia, then, let's go back quickly. We'll go back right away. You said it, I can kiss you when I get back, don't lie to me. Amo Shixia. He decided that he would never let Zhang Luli touch a drop of wine again. He does what he says. Asterisk. The Bai family. The hall is brightly lit. Bai Yusheng got out of the car and saw a strange car parked next to him. He asked the housekeeper who came to pick him up, Uncle Chen, are there any guests at home? The steward nodded. Bai Yusheng walked out of the garage, with the housekeeper following behind him. As he walked, he asked, who is coming? The housekeeper immediately replied, it's Mrs. Shen and the two young ladies from the Shen family who are here. Bai Yusheng was startled and paused, is someone from the Shen family here? Yes. What are they here for? Several major families in Yunqing all have friendships. But the relationship between the Bai family and the Shen family is not very good, and the two families just know each other. Unlike the Mo family and the Shen family, they have been family friends for many years. The Shen family rarely visits the Bai family, so Bai Yusheng was a little surprised when she heard that someone from the Shen family was coming. The housekeeper replied respectfully, that's not clear. But I just heard Mrs. Shen and his wife chatting about you, the young master. It seems that Mrs. Shen came here for you, the young master. Bai Yusheng felt even more strange, and frowned, you came here for me? What does it have to do with me? This, the housekeeper looked at him hesitantly. A hint of impatience appeared on Bai Yusheng's face, if you have anything to say, just say it. You know I hate people who are secretive when talking. Yes, seeing his change of expression, the housekeeper was frightened and said immediately, Mrs. Shen, it seems that Mrs. Shen wants to introduce her daughter to the young master. I heard her asking the madam whether the young master is still single. Is there anything like having a girlfriend? However, I don't know which Miss Shen she wants to introduce to the young master. I guess it should be the eldest lady of the Shen family. The second lady of the Shen family is still young, so Mrs. Shen will not be in a hurry to find a partner for her. Bai Yusheng had a puzzled expression on his face, want to introduce me to the eldest daughter of the Shen family? Doesn't Shen Ro like Mo Yesi? Is she willing to come here? I don't know about this. The young master can ask the madam. Bai Yusheng found this incident simply unbelievable. The Shen family suddenly came to the Bai family and wanted to introduce him to someone. And the person who introduced him was Shen Ro, the eldest lady of the Shen family. In this group of people, whoever didn't know that Shenro liked Mo Yesi would almost go crazy. In this life, no one will marry except Mo Yesi. Bai Yusheng thought this matter was a bit strange. He didn't completely believe what the housekeeper said, so he decided to go find Mrs. by himself to find out. How long have they been here? Almost an hour. It's been an hour and you haven't left yet. After walking out of the garage, Bai Yusheng looked up at the brightly lit residential building in front of him and frowned. Asterisk. Hall. Mrs. Shen and Mrs. Bai were still chatting happily. Shenro and Shen Xian sat beside Mrs. Shen, listening to their conversation quietly. Sister Bai, didn't you say that Yu Sheng's child would be back tonight? Why is it that it's this time and he hasn't come home yet? Is there something that has delayed him? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1059. Chapter 1059. His mother actually really wants to get him and Shenro together. Mrs. Shen picked up the tea on the coffee table and took a sip, wiped her lips gracefully with a handkerchief, and then put the teacup back. Mrs. Bai raised her head and looked at the time displayed on the wall clock. She frowned slightly. She was about to call someone to ask when she heard footsteps coming in from outside. She turned her head and saw Bai Yusheng walking in from the outside. A smile appeared on her face. She immediately stood up and walked towards him. Xiao Wu, you are back. Have you eaten yet? Do you want the chef to make you some midnight snacks? Bai Yusheng is not ranked 5th. Except for the daughter who is still searching, the Bai family only has one son now. He was called Xiao Wu because he was in poor health when he was a child. A master said that calling him this would make him no longer weak and sick. Later, when he grew up and got better, Mrs. Bai got used to calling him by his name, so she kept calling him that. Mom, I just came back after dinner. Bai Yusheng glanced into the hall casually and saw Mrs. Shen and Shenro and Shen Xian sitting in the hall. He pretended to be surprised and said, I'm actually here from home. Are you a guest? Mrs. Bai smiled, took his hand and walked to the sofa. Mrs. Shen and your two sisters are here. Please say hello to them quickly. Bai Yusheng nodded and said generously, hello Aunt Shen, hello two sisters. Mrs. Shen raised her head and said with an elegant smile, Yusheng, have you just come back from your work outside? Your mother and I just talked about you, and you are back now. Oh, Bai Yusheng pretended to be confused. Aunt Shen and my mother talked about me? What did you say? No wonder I felt my ears were burning just now, so that's what happened. Mrs. Shen raised her lips and smiled, it's nothing, just a casual chat. Bai Yusheng nodded and didn't ask any more questions. Hello, brother. Bai Shen Xian, who was sitting next to her, seemed a little embarrassed and called out softly. In comparison, Shenro, as her elder sister, had a calm and generous attitude. She nodded to Bai Yusheng and said with a smile, Brother Bai. Rura, do you think it's boring to be with us two old ladies? It just so happens that Xiao Wu is back. I asked him to take you for a walk in the garden. You two are young together, and you can have more topics to talk about. Yes, Rura, just go for a walk with Yusheng. Xingxin should just stay with me. You are both so many years older than her. As the saying goes, there is a generation gap at the age of 3. I'm afraid she and you will have the same gap. There's nothing to talk about, so you might as well just stay with us. Mrs. Bai and Mrs. Shen each said the same thing, and it was obvious that they wanted to get it right. At first, Bai Yusheng thought the housekeeper's words were not credible. Now, he believes it. His mother actually really wanted to set him up against Shenro. and Mrs. Shen actually meant the same thing. Speaking of which, the Bai family and the Shen family are well matched. Shenro's conditions are also top-notch among the rich and famous ladies. If Mrs. Shen really had such thoughts, her mother would definitely not refuse. But Bai Yushen never thought about having anything with Shenro. Not to mention whether Shenro was his type, it was impossible for him to have anything with a woman who he truly belonged to. Bai Yushen was repulsed by this matter in his heart and did not show it clearly. Face-saving work must always be done. Anyway, no one can force him to do something he doesn't want to do. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1060. Chapter 1060. It matches Harura very well. Just in time, he also planned to make it clear to Shenro and ask her what she thought. Thinking of this, he smiled and nodded, "Okay, then I will take Miss Shen out for a walk. Miss Shen, may I take you for a walk in the back garden of the Bai family?" Shenro also smiled and nodded, slowly stood up and said, "Then there is brother Lao Bai." Bai Yushen raised her lips and said, "No need to be so polite, let's go." Shenro stretched out her hand to straighten the bangs in front of her forehead, lowered her head and said to Mrs. Shen, "Mom, then I will go out for a walk with brother Bai first. You and Aunt Bai can also have a good chat, and I will come back later. Go, go, you are young and have more fun together, and leave us alone." As Mrs. Shen spoke, she raised her eyes to look at Bai Yushen carefully, and then there was a look of satisfaction in her eyes. This son of the Bai family is very good looking. Whether it is appearance or other conditions, they are a perfect match for Harura. If she had to choose between the two heirs of the Gong family and the Bai family, she hoped that Harura could marry the child of the Bai family. The Gong family's conditions are also very good, and he is a good match for the Shen family. But the child of the Gong family is sick. When you are not sick, you still look normal. As soon as the disease occurs, Rura is her precious daughter, and she is reluctant to let Rura marry a sick man. How dangerous that is. Who knows what he will do to Rura after he gets sick? So he thought over and over again, and still felt that the child from the Bai family was more suitable for her family Rura, and there was no one more suitable for her family's Rura than the child from the Bai family. Several major families in Yunchange. The Bai family, the Gong family, the Mahist family, the Yan family. Of course she is the favorite of the Mo family, but neither of the two sons of the Mo family seems to be interested in Rura. She has also hinted at the marriage between the two families. The answer given by the Mo family is that they cannot make the final decision on the matter of marriage. Whether a family can get married depends on the wishes of the children of both families. Mrs. Shen also waited. But after waiting for so many years, the Mo family still had no intention of getting married. Seeing that Shenro was getting older and older, Mrs. Shen felt that she could not wait any longer. The best age for a girl is only a few years. If you wait any longer, Rura will become an older young woman. Although the Shen family's conditions are such that they don't have to worry about finding a good family, it's still not as easy to find a good family as they get older. Except the Mahist family, the only ones left are the Gong family and the Yan family. If Gong Zili hadn't been ill, Mrs. Shen would have thought that he was the best candidate. As for the Yan family, Mrs. Shen has never taken a fancy to her. It's not a matter of the Yan family's family background, but that the youngest son of the Yan family is just a who only knows how to eat, drink and have fun. How can he be worthy of her outstanding daughter? So after much choosing, she finally chose the one from the Bai family. She came to the Bai family this time just to find out what the Bai family was like. Judging from Mrs. Bai's attitude now, she should be looking soft. She knew that Rura, her family, was so good that she would be liked by anyone she went to. The two boys from the Mo family are too high-minded to even look down on an outstanding girl like Rura. She wants to see what kind of woman they will marry in the future. She didn't believe that she could be a better and more outstanding girl than Rura. Asterisk. Bai Yasheng took Shenro for a walk in the back garden. The old house of the Bai family is in the suburbs, occupying half of the mountain. End of this chapter.